Hey, Janie, how are you? DB Mac, how are you? Christy Storm, how are you? Strom, excuse me. Oh, Janie, DB back, and Christy. Hey, Simone, how are you? Hey, Lake Zilla, how are you? DC, what's going on, my friend? Buddy. Oh, buddy. Buddy's coming to start the live with us tonight. Oh, buddy. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Oh, I feel like absolute death. Oh, what are you doing, buddy? Huh? I have a temperature still, and I just wanted to get today, do a live today. Hopefully, feel a little better. What's up, Ginger? Caden, how are you? Hey, Joe, how are you? Cheers to Chow. How are you? So I got some good experiences tonight, some good encounters tonight. Yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't last too long, man. No, I have COVID, DC. I hope it doesn't last too long because it's really kicking my ass. My body hurts. My sinuses kill me. But I'm not gonna let it get me down. I figure, if Joe Biden can do it, I can do it too. Fuck it. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I am. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Michael, how are you? Actually, yeah, you're right. Cheers. We're right 100%. I took a shower last night so hot because I was hot, like I had a temperature, and I didn't realize how hot it was until like I burnt the back of my arms. I'm just glad I didn't take my shower head off and start washing and burn my butthole. Buddy. What's up, mountain bike? How are you? Hey, Glenn, how are you? Brandy, how are you? Nah, I ain't no potato. You're right, DV Mac. You're right. That's so funny. Buddy, where are you going? I should have known something was up. I didn't have like any taste. I had no I couldn't taste shit. Everything felt like or tasted like I was eating a saltine cracker. It was weird. What's up, Glowkey? How are you? Trey. What's up, Beretta? I'm just a fig Newton of your imagination. I wish what I tasted like. I wish what I tasted like fig Newton. At least it would be better than a goddamn saltine. Whew. What's up, Nick? How are you, buddy? No better, pups. No better. We were just talking about it. SL. I did check out part of the movie. Definitely a B movie. Life at Times. I never said I was starting at 7 p.m. I've never started at 7 p.m. ever, except on 4th of July. That's why it's called Saturday Nightmares, live from New York. Let me check something really quick here. Community. Yeah, it was 4th of July that I did the live stream at 7, and it was for an hour. That's all right, life. I get stuff like that stuck in my head all the time. Guys, I found a fucking lot lizard story online. Like, I found an actually, like, a really good one. I was so happy when I found it. I printed it out. I was super stoked. I was like, oh my God, this is freaking awesome. So, I'm gonna try to do as long as I can for the live stream. So you just gotta bear with me tonight. I apologize. My eyes hurt. They're like hot from my fever. Absolutely. I definitely would not want to find a lot lizard on top of me anywhere. All right, so I think we'll start the evening off with a fuck it. You know what? Let's start the night off with this. $20 is $20. There we go. We'll start the night off right, and then we'll go into some black-eyed kids experiences. That was specifically for you, DB Mac. I know. I fucking see. I knew it. And I knew it. Specifically for you. All right, so we'll hit this off with a black-eyed children one. Most people say they can sense when something is about to happen, something feels off or wrong. Maybe that was the case. This never would have occurred. Maybe I wouldn't be sharing this experience. It was late, but I couldn't sleep. Something in my mind was stuck on the on position and refused to budge. After an hour tossing around under the sheets, I accepted the futility and moved myself into the front room. It had to have been about 2 a.m., the television volume on low, playing some older sitcom I was barely aware of. I was on the couch, sleepily watching the ceiling fan. I was pretty calm despite the late hour and my fatigue. It was the knock on the front door that jarred me from my position. I wasn't really suspicious, as of curious. I live in a relatively well-off neighborhood. I had no reason to be scared at first. I looked through the peephole, nothing. I opened the door, leaving the chain lock intact, nothing. I gave up and returned to my place on the couch. I think this time I dozed off, putting the knock down to my restless mind. Really, I had made it up, a figment of my imagination. That is, until it happened again. It was maybe 3 a.m. at this time I opened the door. I was met with something you all know, and fear. At the time I had no idea. All I saw in front of me were 2 sad, helpless children. "Hello," the first one said. "We are lost. It's so late. Can we please come in? We have to call our parents." He seemed so articulate, so smart for a child. He was dressed in such snappy attire. It didn't once cross my mind that something may be wrong. I just didn't notice the eyes. Somehow my mind skipped right over that detail. The younger one, a girl, stood with her head down. She was dressed down compared to her brother. She wore her dark hair in pigtails, and it was just so long. Something in me screamed, "Shut the door." Yet I resisted. Two small children alone with no help. I must help them. It was the only moral and ethical decision. While you turned them away, I invite them inside. At first, they seemed surprised. They had been expecting to have the door shut in their face. They couldn't remember the last time it had been so easy. They won't hurt you, I promise. They're just lonely. They have no parents to take care of them. We must help these black-eyed children. They're just lost, alone, afraid. Besides, you see much better with your eyes black. You'd understand if you let them in. My friend and I were sitting up one night having one of our insomnia talks. It was 3 a.m., and our topic switched from one of my favorite things to talk about, paranormal and cryptid. He says the thing he has heard about that he does not believe in at all, but it still creeps him out, are the stories of black-eyed children. I ask, what are they? But he says that if he's going to sleep at all tonight, he is not going to go into detail, and I should look them up the next day when I'm not planning to go to sleep anytime soon. I get home from work the next day at around 8 p.m., and I start looking up experiences about these kids and creeped myself out. An hour or so later, my cell phone rings. Caller ID on the screen says private number. I answer, and on the other end, a child asks me, "Why did you call?" Chills immediately run down my back of my neck and down my arms, and I reply, "I didn't call anyone." The child then says, "Yes, you did. Why did you call?" I told her that I didn't call anyone and not to call me again, and promptly hung up. I immediately checked each window and door and sat there on my couch for a few minutes, mentally replaying what I believe to be the creepiest thing that has ever happened to me yet. One night in the past winter, I was driving on I-75, a couple hundred yards south of Bay Road Overpass in Mackinac County, Michigan. I noticed something move near the highway reflectors, thinking it was a deer. I turned on my bright lights and watched for it to cross the road. As I approached it, I noticed that what I thought were reflectors on the highway were orange, and then it blinked on and off like an eye. Thinking, what the heck is that? I sped up to get closer. As I got closer, I could see the silhouette of an animal. It was sitting like a dog. Its head was even with the reflectors. It stood on all fours and turned and walked down the ditch, then up the little incline, then turned to look at my truck. It turned back to the highway and walked on all fours to the shoulder of the blacktop and looked at the truck again with those orange eyes. The eyes were huge. Then it jumped to within a foot or two from the center line. And then the next jump landed in the grass on the shoulder of the road. It was probably like 100 feet from it. This animal was rippling with muscles. It looked like it weighed at least 500 pounds. Its hair covered its entire body. It looked short. Its head was huge, with hardly any neck. After I passed where it had crossed, I hit the brakes, as there were no cars on the highway, and started to back up. As I got close to the spot where it had crossed, I suddenly felt fear and thought, what the hell am I doing? I put the truck back in drive and left. As I'm rolling up the window, I glanced back and noticed a light, bright like a floodlight, ascending into the sky at a high rate of speed. It was at an angle of about 1 o'clock, and in just a few seconds, it was out of sight. Something else that was strange was there was not any light rails trailing it. What's up, Stephanie? How are you? Hey, Christopher, how are you? Nikki, how are you? So this guy saw a dog man driving down the road, sees a dog man, goes to stop, and then passes by a little ways and sees this ascending light go up in the air. UFO? What's up, Dave? Oh. Hey, Renee, how are you? I know, that is creepy. You're absolutely right, Firehorse. And hello to you, Firehorse. Hey, Southern Charmer, how are you? Oh. I'm not much. I'm sick as a dog. Boom Squad, how are you? I have something for you, pups, in a moment here. Jay Mathers, thank you for the love, my friend. I truly appreciate that. Do something. What's going on? You know, to be honest with you, Alan Howell, how are you, buddy? I really almost contemplated on not doing it tonight just because my back hurts, everything hurts. I just literally wanted to crawl in bed. But then I pounded some of the I'm addicted to, I know some people like all kinds of coffee, Black Rifle coffee, this coffee, that coffee, but I like Green Mountain coffee. And I had my boyfriend back in the early 90s abducted. He left me out one day. He didn't call me when he got home. Called me the next day. Crazy. Oh, thank you, Southern Charmer. That's crazy. That is crazy. What the hell was I saying? My mind just went fucking blank. Holy crap. Oh, coffee. Thank you, 59th. So I had the Tax Squatch coffee. That's not bad, but I like Green Mountain coffee, and I usually drink the Vermont blend. It's pretty freaking good. But the new Kevin Costner Western movie, the Horizon movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but if you guys like Western movies, holy shit, the movie is amazing. Wednesday night, I just laid on the couch and watched the whole thing. 3 hours long, but it's amazing. But they made Horizon coffee. So I just chugged 2 cups of Horizon coffee and I was good to go. Hey, Luke, how are you? Luke Thompson. Pitty, how are you? Welcome to the show. J-Dad, how are you? Hey, Claire Harris, how are you tonight? Shall we, Jim Baker? We shall, my buddy. What's up, Bobby Noth? Oh, God. I'm sharing this from Durham, North Carolina. I'm not going to assume that what I saw was an actual cryptid, but I've spent nearly 4 hours trying to figure out what it could have been. I've come up with nothing except moose, and this is way too far south to have been a moose. It was probably 100 feet in front of me, loping out of the woods like a dog would lope through deep snow. It was almost black in color, except for enormous reflective eyes that were the size of dinner plates glowing back at me. It had thin legs like a deer, but was easily twice the size, covering its long matted fur. It had a face of a dog and the tail that extended probably a good 2 feet behind it. It almost looked like it was grimacing as it moved. Like I caught it when it was vulnerable. It didn't slow down though, loping the full width of the street, maybe in 5 hops before disappearing into the trees. I texted my neighbor and he joked that it was a dogalope. But I honestly just want to know if anyone else has ever seen anything like this in North Carolina. Thank you. It was definitely not a moose, and I don't think an elk. It was not a cow or a beefalo. For those wondering, it had no antlers. Its head was distinctly canine. It was in the backwoods of Durham Chapel Hill Road specifically. Definitely Dogman. Yeah, be safe, Pity. Martin, how are you, buddy? Vicky, how are you? Chris Berry. I finished the book. It's with publisher. It's with a publisher right now, Chris. I finished the book for him. Rockin' steady, what's going on? Animes, how are you? Went through. Cosmic. If I didn't respond, no, it didn't. If I did respond, yes, it did. All right, so this one's for pups. I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah my entire life. I lived in the city but loved the outdoors. During the summer, I'm always out hiking with friends or fishing or camping. It's the thing to do. One of my best friends, Jack, would always talk to me about his father's property out near Duchesne, Utah. Duchesne? I don't know. There are a few acres with trailers and RVs scattered around this little sandy cliffside they live next to that would actually drop you down into the Indian Canyon if you were brave enough to trek. He would always tell me about freedom they had out there. You could go shooting wherever you wanted and practically do anything you wanted. So in 2017, Jack invited me to go to his father's property with him. I was really excited to go since I had never been out toward that way. We drove there from Salt Lake City. It was about 2 hours, so it was a decent drive. When we arrived, I was pleasantly surprised to see his property was exactly as he explained it to me. Skip the ads. I loved it and couldn't wait to get out and explore. We were there for 4 days, just having a ton of fun target shooting and hunting rabbit and snakes. But the last night we were there, something really, really weird shit happened to us. I still can't explain it to anyone exactly what we saw. We really just thought we were going on a little vacation to get away from everything. Then we would be home, and that was that. Yeah, I was wrong. So the last night we were there, Jack, his father, and I were drinking and playing poker. We were just having a fun time when Jack and I decided to head up to the trailer where we could just hang out together and reminisce about the old days. We get to the trailer. He has his AK-47 and I'm holding a sawed-off shotgun. Jack decides to call his girlfriend back in Salt Lake City to see if she's doing all right. And I didn't think anything of it until, for some reason, while they were on the phone, she brought up the subject of the Skinwalker. Here we are out in the middle of nowhere and kind of getting creeped out. We told her to cut it out, quit trying to scare us, because we had the dumb belief that if you mentioned Skinwalker, that you would be stalked by it, even though we knew that they were just myth. As Jack is speaking with his girlfriend on the phone, I'm lying on half of the sofa right next to the wide open window on the right side of the trailer. As I looked out into the dark, I swear to God, I was seeing what looked like a person in the distant shrubbery and small trees walking back and forth, almost trying to conceal themselves. but not doing a very good job. At this point, I tell Jack what I am seeing, and he starts to worry about his girlfriend because she's hearing us talk aloud about how we think we are being watched. Jack gets off the phone with his girlfriend, and now just reminds me that the trailer we are in did not have a lock on it. And I'm like, great, let's get out of here, or at least get to the trailer with a lock. As I'm saying this, I noticed that the figure had gotten closer to the trailer, and I got a better look at who or what it was. One thing that I saw that I literally have burned into my brain was the thing's neck. It was way too long to be a normal human. It stretched out and almost caused the head to bob around like a weight on top of a loose spring. Jack wasn't against leaving, but mentioned that we would have to go outside where the thing was if we wanted to get anywhere. So we made the difficult choice. We only had a small electric lantern that would only illuminate about 5 to 6 feet in front of us as we are standing back to back with our weapons in hand, literally ready to shoot anything that got close. We just stood back to back and circled around and around as we walked to the other trailer that was about 50 feet away. During that time, we were both hysterical. We didn't hear any footsteps following us or anything moving in the distance as we slowly but surely went to the other trailer. This is when everything gets bizarre and still makes me sick just thinking about it. We finally get to the other trailer that had a lock, and we got in and tried to be as silent as we could. We didn't even want to risk looking out the window or moving the curtains to give away where we were. After about an hour passed, and we think we are in the clear. But the next thing we know, we are looking at the window or looking at the shadow of this thing or person standing directly in front of the moonlight curtained window. It was standing completely still, no movement whatsoever. At this point, we are in panic mode. But as soon as it was there, it was gone. We didn't see it move. We didn't hear it anything. We just looked back after a second and it was gone. The oddest thing happened after that, though. I started to hear a pig, like it was in a pen, oinking up a storm. And I turned to Jack and asked him if he could hear that. Then we hear this weird disembodied voice from outside of the trailer. Oink. Not like a pig, but like a person. But the voice was sinister. Almost like they wanted us to know that they were there and they knew we were afraid, and said it mockingly. I don't know if this was really just some guy in a weird getup just trying to mess around with us and just terrorize people on their property, or something else. We have no clue. But I never went back there after that. Aramic, what's up, buddy? I got one for Aramic. Oh, this one's fucking creepy too. That one will be the one that we do next. That one's next. Where's the one I put? I put one aside for Aramic specifically. The fuck is it? Is that it? No, that's not it. Is that it? No, that's not it. What'd I do with it? I know I put one aside for Aramic. What the fuck? Hang on one second. Sorry, guys. I'll find it in a second. There it is. I think this is it. I think this is it right here. Yep. For some context, I live about 30 minutes outside of the city in a wooded area. Closest neighbor is about 2 or 3 miles down the road. Could have very well been a human, which is a lot more scarier for me, but I am sure it was not. Thought I would share. Last night I was awoken by my dog crying at my door. I look at the time and it's about 3:30. I think to myself, that's weird, as he never needs to go out at this time. I get up, turn the porch light on, and let him out. He was hesitant to go out when I opened the door, which was also weird for him. I watch as he runs over to the back fence and starts barking. It wasn't his normal bark. He basically sounded and looked like Cujo. Alarmed, as I had never seen him that distressed, I open the door and call out to him again to come back. That's when I hear it, whistling. Sounded like someone whistling a song. I didn't see anything at this point, but still freaked out because I'm not sure who the hell would be on my property at this time, let alone at all, really. I'm desperately trying to get him to come back in, but he's fixated on whatever he's barking at. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed his treats, hoping to bribe him to come in. I go to the back door and I hear someone or something barking back at my dog, but in a high-pitched voice. It sounded like a human barking like a dog, if that makes sense. I look toward where the noise is coming from and I can barely make out what look like glowing eyes staring out of the forest. The whistling started again for a moment, and as soon as I shook the treats and called out to him, I heard a very loud, deep growl, and not from my dog, and it did not sound human either. The noise sounded like a very mad, very large animal or something. My dog comes running at the door, straight past me and his treats, right into his crate. I slammed the door and locked it, brought him into my room with me, and barricaded us in till daybreak. I could reason the growling to be a bear or a mountain lion, but what was the whistling and the human-like barking? I'm not sure what it was, but it was enough to scare my dog to the point where he was trembling and panting. He's a German Shepherd. He's a big, brave boy. I've never seen him upset. I was too terrified to go back out that night. I hope that this never happens again. Ugh. If I missed hi to anybody, hi everybody. What's up, Johnny? How are you? I know, 59th. I know. I'm probably not going to do it too much tonight, Mindy. I have COVID. I'm very sick. I almost didn't do the live stream. I made an announcement yesterday. I've been saying it all week, actually. You're right, DC. I was. I couldn't remember when I was getting sick. I thought it was Sunday morning because I woke up, my legs hurt Sunday morning, and I noticed like I was just off. And then Monday, Tuesday is when I really felt it. Wednesday, Thursday is when was it Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday is when I got the test done. And it was just, I don't know. I thought it was my TRT shot, but I was like, you never feel like shit after your TRT. I don't know. It just come up and kicked my ass. I don't talk to people. Like, I don't hang out with anybody. I don't have friends that I go and hang out with. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here hanging out with you guys. Oh, pity. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here with us. Hardith, what's going on? I gotta blame somebody. I don't know who to blame though, dude. And it's bad because it's hot. It's fucking hot in upstate New York right now. It's terrible. Michael, congratulations, brother. Congratulations. Stay strong. Stay strong. Yeah, Aramic, I made a joke about him earlier too. Definitely. That's why I was like, if Biden can get back to the Oval Office and endorse Kamala, I might as well do my live stream tonight, right? What's up, Tyler? How are you? My dad scared me today. I'll tell you a funny story. So me and Big Jim are talking, and he's like, "Your mother heard on the radio," and I'm like, "What did my mother hear on the radio?" He goes, "That Kamala." I call her Kamala, like the Ugandan headhunter, Kamala from WWF. Kamala and her running mate is going to be Michael Obama. And I'm like, what? I'm like, are you kidding, Dad? And he's like, your mom heard it on the radio. I'm like, what are you talking about? So Big Jim and Little Gene were convinced that Michael and Kamala were going to be president and VP. And I'm like, I have no place to move. I'm not going to move to Canada. I guess I'll move to like Brazil. But then I said, no, Dad, they're endorsing them. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Hey, Lisa Marie, how are you? What a combo. Oh. Yes, Boom Squad. Michael. Oh, I've had these, Johnny. I've had tattoos all my life, pretty much. I was born with tattoos. No, I'm just kidding. Utah. Utah's a whole different planet. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lisa Marie. I do too. I do too. I'm trying to, Nikki Harrison. Thank you. I really am. Absolutely rocking steady. Thanks, Craigers. I just, I personally don't even like care. Like, I just want America to be great again. I just like, I don't know. I think our country really needs a whole kind of rebirth, like a kick right in the ass. You know what I mean? Like, there's just too much bullshit going on, too much fighting. Like, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're that. No, you're freaking American. We're all American. Like, grow the fuck up. Put your big boy and big girl pants on Stop whining about everything. I think TikTok and all that other bullshit has really messed our country up. Oh, no shit, do something. And thank you so much for the love, brother. Yes, that's crazy. I loved Kamala, the Ugandan headhunter giant, man. I remember we have a civic center in our town, and WWF, when it was WWF, used to come, and like my granddad met Ivan Putski, Andre the Giant back in the day and stuff. But my favorite match ever was, I forget what year it was, but I got to meet Bret Hart, who I fucking loved. I loved the Hitman. But it was Jake the Snake Roberts versus Kamala, the Ugandan headhunter, and Jake Snake Roberts DDT'd him. Larry Lindman, thank you so much, brother. Thank you. You are so kind. J-Dad, you're right. It is. It is. Nobody's learning anything nowadays. We have 214 people and only 99 likes. Dark Waters, thank you so much. Appreciate the love, brother. I actually made chaga tea that James got me 2 years ago. I think you sent that to me when I was sick last time. The chaga, he sent me a bag of chaga tea from Maine, and it does work. It works wonders to help clear your throat and your nasal passages. It's pretty amazing. I was, and that's when me and James started like really first talking, and he knew me, but he didn't know me, and he just, ever since, he's been nothing but kind. Fucking one of the nicest people I've ever met on YouTube, to be honest with you. Time is a good antibacterial. No kidding. Oh yeah, Hardeth. I have COVID. I almost didn't do the live stream. I made a comment. I talked about it all week this week, but I almost didn't want to do a live stream, but I figured I was going to do it anyway. Yeah, but the president might be the president either way, but Kamala as our president, that's just going to fuck our country up even more, I think. My own take. I think we just need a whole reboot. A reboot. Pro-America, pro-God, pro-America, pro-family, pro-sitting at the dinner table with your kids, just back to a better day, We just need, like, to fuck the inner fighting. That's where it comes from. It's not one political race or the other. It's both of them. They're both shitty. Like, they both talk shit about each other. They both do douchey shit to each other. I mean, if they were true Americans, they wouldn't do douchey shit to each other. They would just be like, hey, we're all Americans. Let's fucking put an end to BlackRock. Let's put an end to this. Let's put an end to that. Let's fucking introduce our kids to God, instead of TikTok. TikTok is not God. Anyway, I'm just going to shut up now. I had an interesting encounter in southern Vermont. My wife and myself live in the Bennington Triangle. There's a whole separate rabbit hole, or one and the same. The area has lots of unexplained disappearances dating back hundreds of years. There's even a case where a guy literally vanished off a moving bus. Arabic, thank you so much, brother. stories of the indigenous Americans, of people being eaten by rocks and parts of the woods that they shouldn't go to. One night, while standing in our large backyard in early November of 2017, the weather was clear. It was around 6:30 p.m. and dark. We heard a rustle in the lower area of the yard and couldn't see anything. It's a large yard, and it goes out into a field surrounded by trees and brush. There's a road on one side and deep woods all around the rest. We couldn't see because it was so dark. That is until a car turned up the street adjacent to our yard and lit up the entire creature for both of us to witness. Now, living in Vermont, we are no strangers to wildlife. We have 2 large dogs, and it's common for deer to cut through our property on their way to the woods. This was no deer, moose, mangy dog, or anything else that could potentially be there normally. Born and raised up here and grew up in these very woods and hollers. When the lights hit it, we both were shocked to see a very large figure sprawled out low to the ground with limbs so long they looked absurd. It was absolutely massive and held a very odd position. I've never seen anything do this before. You could see the muscle under the pale white, tight, stretched skin. Although the limbs were ridiculously long, it looked incredibly strong. The face was menacing and looked like nothing I had ever seen until that very moment. With huge black eyes and sunken features, the light hit it from behind, and its face was mostly in the darkness. The car continued on its way, and the time of the creature being in the light was brief. I ran ideas, and so did my wife, as she grabbed the flashlight and I grabbed a rifle. We both quickly exited the house and returned to find nothing but a creepy feeling being watched. There are no good answers to this. I never saw it again after that encounter. I cannot explain the level of fear that filled us. My heart was pounding when I stood there watching my wife do a wide, methodical sweep in the field with the flashlight. My wife, however, said she saw it in the tree line behind the house one evening, getting the dogs back inside. They were both freaking out and acting odd. A German Shepherd and a Husky, both dogs are acclimated to Vermont and are not scared of the regular wildlife. We got the Husky in, and when she got the Shepherds, she saw it. Only its face was visible in the tree line, and I guess it was around 8 to 10 feet off the ground. It's a creepy fucker, whatever it is, and we feel it was hunting in both occasions. If I had the chance, I would have most certainly shot this creature and took lots of pictures. It clearly was looking for food and uses the darkness as cover. If that car hadn't driven by, I almost certainly would not have seen it. Hell, I might not have been here to even share this experience. Thank you, Donna Harmon. Thank you so much. What's up, Squatchin'? Squatchin' Grandma. Stormy Light, how are you? Well, you know the answer to that, Wamps. Or Wamps. I mean, that's kind of a dumb question. Jeff. Thanks, Aramic. Dude, I have this nose spray. I don't know if you've ever, like, something. I had to ask the doctor that prescribed it to me because it ends with opium. It says something opium is the name of it. And I'm like, I'm in recovery. I can't stick that in my nose. And they're like, no, that's the name. It's not a narcotic. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's 2 sprays each nostril 3 times a day, and literally dries your nostrils out. Like, they're bone dry, but whatever mucus, it's stuck like in the back of my fucking throat. It's not going anywhere. It's like cement now. Yeah, I do the saline wash periodically. No, I hated Rick Rude, Vertebreaker. I could not stand Rick Rude. David Y, gotta check out Dog Soldiers. It's an old movie. If you haven't seen it, you probably gotta check it out. I don't know. I don't like watching movies like that. Here, I've got to tell you guys something. So I was reading a comment the other day, and this lady commented 70,000 subscribers, and he doesn't even know how to tell a story properly. I think I'm going to go and listen to Let's Read, which is a creepypasta channel, right? And I'm like, wait, what? And so right there, two things that shocked me or that I've said before. One, people look at your channel based on the amount of subs you have. They don't care that I've got 30 million views. But then the second, I'm like, I'm not a creepypasta channel. I'm like, I don't tell stories. I talk about reality. I talk about the truth. Only the shadows. How are you? What's up, Rattlesnake? How are you, buddy? No, her name was Stacy. No, I can't taste anything. I said it earlier that I everything tastes like a saltine cracker. 100%. Beretta, you know it. You know it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Donna. I would not be surprised. That's where I was just reading I was just reading the my files from 2 years ago when there were those 8 bodies that were discovered in Tazewell, Virginia in 1 year. Well, Tazewell, Buchanan, and Mercer County, which is all pretty much one area. 2 different states, one area, if you really like look at it. They might find what's his name, Richardson. I think that was his last name. My brain is not working great, but he disappeared like 15 years ago. The old miner. They might find him when they go digging in that. What's up, Woo Rider? How are you? Thank you for joining us. What happened, Rock and Steady? No way, not Dave Mustaine for president. Mike Patton for president. I would rather have Patton for president. Oh, I take that every day, Kim. Every day. I take so much medicine. You know, Hardith, that's crazy because I really think that Descent was a soft disclosure. If you really think about it, Descent and Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers are a Dogman movie, and Descent is a crawler movie directed by the same guy. That's fucking creepy. Chud is beyond scary. Chud still scares me. I fucking hate Chud. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers that come from dumbs. There's a reason why. CH or C period H period UD or U period D period. All in caps. Dumbs. DUMP or B. All in caps with periods between them. Connection. Soft disclosure. In the 80s. Thank you, George. I appreciate you, buddy. Chud could have been a documentary, brother. I bet you, during the 80s, I bet you the government did some testing on the homeless people in the New York City subway tunnels and sewer tunnels and shit like that. Oh yeah, they did, Stacey. The 80s were great anyway. I don't know. I've never taken it. No, Hardith. I was saying like Chud in DUMBS, DUMBS, deep underground military bases, is all in caps and with a period between. Chud, cannibalistic underground humanoid dwellers. The 80s did just hit different. The fucking music, deep underground military bases do something. I did a lot of uploads about them. Like Phil Schneider. That's where Nightmare Hall is in Dulce, New Mexico. One of the scariest, like probably the realest and scariest shit that you'll ever hear is any kind of story that comes out of that place, because it's just not right. They live. Yeah. Chud, I don't think Chud is feral people. I think they're more or less like crawlers. Totally different. Nobody knows where black-eyed kids come from. I'm reading the comments, Caden. And if I read all the comments for all my videos, I'd never have a chance to put a new video up. Plus, I get irritated. So I don't read the comments. Like, the comments of my videos are for you guys. I don't even go in them. Like, I learned that from Joe Rogan. I was like, Joe Rogan was like, don't ever read your comments. He always says it. And I was like, why? Thinking to myself, that's fucking crazy. I need to. And then I started to, and I'm like, wow, I'm really mad at people now. I'm like, I'm just going to stay out of it. There's dumbs in pretty much every state. Woo Rider, in every state. There's a lot of bots in there, Caden. in the very beginning. I have to delete like 4 of them in the very beginning of every video. But you're the biggest creeper, Caden. Caden, there's creeps in there. I love you, buddy. So this, yes, William Menendez. William, didn't you ask that last week? God damn you. I'm just kidding. Nicholas Carroll, how are you? Thank you, Shari. Oh, hey, Liz, how are you? Yes, I can see your comments. All right, so this one goes along with talking about dumbs and other shit. Oh, hang on a second. The following information is sourced largely from renowned British UFOologist Andrew Collins' report, The Avey Abduction, compiled in January of 1978, along with other supporting online sources. At the time, Collins called the Avey abduction probably the most important British case ever, and it still gets heralded today as such by those in the UFO research community. On late Sunday evening, October 27th, 1974, a run-of-the-mill Essex family was driving a route between Harold Hill and Avey to see relatives. The Avey family, consisting of John, 32, his wife, Ellen, 28, and their 3 kids, Kevin, 10, Karen, aged 11, and Stuart, 7, were on Hecton Lane, about 1 mile from Hornchurch, with, for them, the roads noticeably quiet, even for a Sunday night. Ellen recalls the car jerking violently as the mist curled around their car at a point in the journey. It was Kevin, the only one of the children awake, who asked his parents about a light he could see above the County Lane houses. Collins reports, glancing around, both John and Ellen saw, at an angle of about 25 degrees to 30 degrees above the skyline, an ovular-shaped, pale blue iridescent light, like a big star over the top of the houses to their left. Just as the mist was seen by the family, the radio started crackling and smoking, causing John to pull out its wires. Then they were engulfed by fog, still traveling 30 miles an hour. Ellen recalled the car jerking violently as the mist curled around the car. With 2 children asleep, Kevin awake, John and Ellen recall it was very light inside the fog, and they felt very cold. A tingling sensation was felt. It was dead silent. They recall being in the mist for what seemed like a second or 2 before they were out. There was a jolt, described as like a car going over a humpbacked ridge. The mist was gone. Elaine remembered asking, "Is everyone here?" with herself and John both feeling very nervous and frightened. Although no ill effects were remembered, and the 2 children, aside for Kevin, were asleep, the couple don't recall talking a large amount about what had happened in the situation. Instead, provoked a "let's just get home" atmosphere. The couple expected it to be around 12:20 when they arrived home, but instead it was 1 a.m., leaving around 3 hours the couple could not account for. The family reported unnerving incidences around their family home after the encounter, including objects levitating. There were noticeable changes in the family following the incident. Collins report, before Christmas that year, John had a nervous breakdown and stopped working, before later taking on a job working with a mentally handicapped people, something he had wanted to do for years. The job fell into his lap, a different direction from his usual carpentry and construction work. He would also begin writing poems about life. Ellen started attending college and reportedly grew in confidence. Additionally, John and Ellen stopped eating meat and became far more health conscious in their nutrition, with the taste of meat and fish now making them ill. And whereas before the incident they enjoyed a good drink, the couple would now not touch a drop of alcohol. The couple reportedly also became very environmentally conscious, with John also quitting his 60 to 70 a day smoking habit. Holy shit, buddy. Kevin's reading age at school reportedly was well beyond his years, whereas prior to the incident had been reported he was backwards of his age. The family reported unnerving incidents around their home after the encounter, including objects levitating, clicking noises, and the sound of Morse code. And young Kevin reportedly seeing a strange figure beside his bed on one occasion. When questioned by Collins, both John and Elaine would admit to strange dreams which creatures would examine them on long tables and other visions of that ink. At this point, Collins sought hypnotist Leonard Wilder to query the couple's subconscious to see if these dreams were masking a real abduction. John was first to agree the hypnosis while his wife declined, preferring to try and move on and forget about it. Instead, it was decided hypnotizing Kevin was not an option due to his age and the impression any memories it may leave. John, the first underwent hypnosis, began to remember that as the car entered the mist, he found himself in a big room with tall, peaceful beings in one-piece colorless suits. John recalled that they had pink eyes and communicated telepathically. They put him on a table and ran a bar-like instrument over his body. He asked where they came from, and they showed him a map, but not a map, and gave him an explanation of which he could only remember Phobos. They travel, he was told, almost instantaneously. They explained how, but he couldn't understand. A small being was present at the table. It had fur-like covering and made chirping sounds. It served the tall beings. Leonard Wilder remarked to Andrew Collins that John was an excellent subject for hypnosis, and the second session was arranged. In the second session, John remembered that when the car entered the mist, a white beam cut through it and lifted the car. The next thing he knew, that they were in a large room here, and an examiner, smaller than us, big eyes and mouth, not like ours, examined him. The tall beings had no visible mouths. John understood that their propulsion system used a magnetic vortex. Though he had begun to mutter somewhat incoherently his responses at this point, he encountered only 3 tall beings, and only one communicated with him. When John was asked the reason for the beings visiting Earth, he replied, "No visit. They were always here." Asked where they came from, he said there was no need for them to say, and that they have no need to return home. They have more than one base here. After being brought out of hypnosis, he said at this point he felt prevented from saying anything more, following questioning surrounding being's origin, yada yada. My understanding is the sessions were stopped. There were memories coming flooding back naturally outside of the hypnosis. Collins report to have kept in touch with the family, and that John and Ellen or Elaine would later separate, with the former moving to Scotland to live with a new partner. And this case is still spoken of frequently. Andrew Collins did a very accurate report at the time and since, but there have been a number of articles subsequently written by others that are way off the mark, to say the least. For instance, contrary to some reports, the witness is neither uneducated nor unskilled. Far from it, in fact. People seem to forget that John was an actual abductee and reported what he believed to have taken place. It was truly a life-changing event for him and the family. John has explained that he would like to be more involved in the UFO scene, but every time he tries to do so, strange things seem to happen to him around him and his family. His encounter led to a whole catalog of events, which even he still finds hard to understand. What the hell is that fucking little furry chirping thing? It reminded me of Nightmare Hall when Tom Castiello talked about the furry humanoids that could mimic people and chirp with claw-like hands. A Jawa. Did you know in Star Wars legend or Star Wars canon, the Ewoks were actually eaten? Like, there were other alien races that went to Endor and hunted the Ewoks and ate them. Haha, little bastards. Itch it. Good night, Robert. Have a good night, buddy. Yeah, there was an Ewok that used the Force too, and the Ewoks were cannibals themselves, because after the Battle of Endor, the stormtroopers that were left were actually piked and eaten. That's why they were going to cook Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Thank you, Arabic. Thank you so much, buddy. Ah, fuck. Oh. Larry Lindman was gifted a membership. Holy shit, Arabic. Wow. Oh. Yeah, he did 59th. Oh. You've got a membership, Shane Lynch. Or Sean Lynch. You have a membership already. No one forgot you. No, I can't sleep, Shari. I can't sleep good at all. I do. You'll make the cut, Moondog. Oh. I might in a little bit. All right, here we go. I've been seeing and feeling their presence. Weird. Hunched over humanoids around my house. I can only ever see them out of the corner of my eye through the windows. They are so fast, I am not sure what I'm seeing, but they are definitely not an animal. No animal I can think of, especially logically or locally, that is big, pale, and has long limbs. I'm constantly feeling as though I am being watched. I have a house with a basement halfway down the ground level, and that's where I sleep. I've grown accustomed to leaving the windows open at night for air circulation, but there's been something telling me recently to keep that shit locked. I haven't had any recent issues with neighbors or anything, so I don't know why I'd feel that way. I live in a very safe neighborhood, and I have for a long time. Sometimes it sounds like my family is calling me from the woods, and I keep telling myself it's my imagination. But it's happened so many times now, only at night. I'm sane, and my CO detector works fine. I don't know what to think anymore. I live with my parents, and they're always in bed before 9 p.m., and the sounds and sightings start at around 11 p.m. I live in North Carolina, near South Carolina. Has anyone experienced something like this? I'd really like to believe that I am not crazy. I have no idea how to even describe the feeling I get when I hear these noises. I have cats, and I've started keeping them in the room with me just in case. Somehow I feel like my cats scare them off. I just have this terrible sense of dread. The real reason why he's keeping the cats in his room is because he's going to sacrifice the cats first. I would just grab Tigger and throw Tigger at one, and Tigger would fuck it up and then run away. Tigger would definitely hurt a crawler. Tigger is a good boy. Oh, God. Claire, he started the night off with us. He was here first thing in the upload. Buddy. There he is. Come here, buddy. I'll shake something to get his fat ass in here. Come on, buddy. He knows that. He knows that trick from last week. Come here, buddy. Oh. Hey, buddy. Come here. Hang on a second. Come here. Come here, buddy. He's looking at me, and then he turned his head. He went just like this. Asshole. Come here. Come here. Come on. Don't make me get up, dude. I will fucking get you. Come here, buddy. Oh. Everyone wants to say hi to you. Come on. No, we're not going downstairs. Oh. Come here. Everyone wants to say hi to you. Everyone wants to say hi. Say hi to everybody. Hey. 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 There he is. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Say hi, buddy. Say hi, everybody. Oh, here you go, boy. Here you go, boy. There he is. There he is. He's a good boy. Don't get down. Please don't get down. Bye. Such an asshole. And then he walks out shaking his dirty little ass at me. Scumbag. Buddy. Oh. Tigger always sees weird stuff. Tigger literally always sees the strangest stuff. Like when I go to bed, my cross is so we'll just say my wall's here. My bed hits the wall and the wall here. So I sleep on the outside. Tigger sleeps on the inside. My cross is right there, probably like a foot off my bed. He stares at the cross. Like, so this is the cross, right? He goes and then lays down and stares at it. It's the weirdest thing. And he's done it since I got it. And it's made of olive wood. It was made in Jerusalem, and it was made of olive wood, and it has frankincense, myrrh, and something else in it, in these little things of it, and he just stares at it. I take a ton of vitamins, Bobby. I take zinc, vitamin B, C, echinacea. No, I never seen a Buddha monk cat. Tigger couldn't be a Buddha monk anyway. He's violent. He's had violent interludes throughout his life. Like he's beaten up other cats. That's why we have no other animals in the house. He's beaten up a cat. He dragged another cat underneath the bed. And I was like, he's going to kill it. A spoon fight of Vegemite, a little bit of Vegemite sandwich. All right, here we go. I'm writing this for a friend who now wears a bulletproof vest and carries a gun every day because of his encounter. He said there are 8-foot tall creatures resembling reptilian type beings surrounding his home at night. They get into his head and communicate strange things like stuff about the end of civilization and that only a small group will survive. Sometimes they get physical, and then there is a loss of consciousness. They mimic his voice when he yells out into the woods at them. It starts off sounding strange, and they repeat it over and over until they get exactly duplicated, until it gives him the chills. He shoots at them, and then at light smacks the bullets out of the air, and then a light will smack the bullet out of the air. When the light hits the bullet, it makes a loud slapping sound. He finds the bullets in his yard in the morning. Some bullets are perfectly shaped, and some are flat, like they have been run over by a train. Since the guns and bullets don't work, he's tried using a knife. He was able to stab one, and it yelled. He used a bear trap once. It snapped shut on the thing, and it screamed. The trap was gone in the morning. There is so much more to his experience that I don't know and can't remember, but he wants to have an interview sometimes for some help. They don't seem to be able to come into his house for some reason. Humans might be working with them as well. At the same time that these incidents were taking place, someone shot his dog. The dog was placed in a box and left at his front door of his home with a note, "Don't forget." It sounds sort of like the Mothman prophecy stuff to me, strange. The only way he sees himself actually being able to kill one of these creatures is by stabbing it while it is dragging him away, and hopefully it bleeds out before it takes him to where it wants to go. There's so much more, like I said, to his experience that only he knows and is willing to tell y'all. He just wants to find out how to get rid of these creatures. It's better than Marmite. What the hell's Marmite? What's Marmite? Is it like Vegemite? The only reason why I know Vegemite is because that sandwich or the song. What's up, Pine Knot? It's like, so it is like Vegemite. What the hell is Vegemite anyway? I think it's like mayonnaise. Isn't it like mayonnaise or something? It's English beef. Naroshi. It's a yeast extract. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus. Send me some Vegemite, Truth Quest. I'd like to have a Vegemite sandwich. I come from the land down under. What's up, Mike Turner? How are you, buddy? I know these things. I have a blowgun. Blowguns are fun. Yeah, he should use a bow and arrow. I agree. Or not, but he should use a crossbow rather than a bullet. Inch thick. Just a slither on garlic. On You put it on garlic butter? Oh, okay. Marmite is from Britain. Vegemite is from Australia. Ah, pray for Dogman. Why? Why are we praying for Dogman? Pray that someone gets a good shot on the little bastards. Marmite is sweeter. He has crabs. Oh, Joe. I wish my fever would break and I could sleep. What? Charles, what did it do? Tyler Steven, have a good night, buddy. Thank you for joining. What's up, Michael Vick? How are you? Michael Vicky. Michael Vick. Michael Vicky, how are you? Hey, Steph, how are you, buddy? Wait, you're leaving? I didn't even see you come in. Um, not since the last one in Kentucky about a month ago. So this was back in 2017, late summer, when it gets dark at around 8 p.m. Me and my class were camping in the woods for some reason I don't remember, but we were all getting ready to sleep and end the day. I was the last person to go through the woods to the toilets, so I ended up going on my own down a dark path where you can easily get lost. As I was approaching the path through the woods, I looked over the tree line since I heard a sharp sound and saw a shadowy figure that looked almost goat like. It had pointed horns that were completely straight, larger than the trees, and could change size. My only reason to believe it was able to change size was because after freaking out at the first sight of it, I tried throwing a rock at it when all of a sudden it shrunk and disappeared through the tree line. I ran back to the campsite where the teachers were and told them about it, and of course they didn't believe me. But I know what I saw, and I'm not someone to fake things in my mind or lie about things either. That can get someone hurt. I told them all it's dangerous and not to go back even during the day. I stayed clear of the path while others did not during the last 3 days of being there. All the children of my age all came back with some type of injury they couldn't feel or didn't know about. The thing that I remember the most, it resembled the Krampus or a goat man. I encountered this in 2017 in the United Kingdom in an area called Suffolk. I've lived there. I've lived from then on as if something is always behind me with bad intentions. And I feel I should still warn people to this day about traveling down those paths. So I don't know if it grew in height or if being the light, you know what I mean? Like how shadows can play tricks with your eyes and such. So maybe they saw it and it was closer to them. So it looked bigger because they only just saw the shadow. They didn't see the exact creature. And then they tried to throw a rock and the shadow got smaller and eventually disappeared. But they did say that it was walking away. Goatman Bridge, there's one in Texas. There's one in Maryland too. Yeah, they described it as a shadow, but it was in the shape of a goat. Dogs are man best friend, but not dog man. Don't all goats have crappy attitudes? Caden, were you just talking about there being real creeps in the comment section? Oh. They are like delinquent teenagers. They just need an RKO every once in a while. And I heard it's okay to do that. You just give them a quick RKO off the top rope, they're good to go. All goats will be fine. I like goats, though. I think they're cute. Caden's either bragging or he's delusional. Or he's both. Or he's looking in the mirror in the car where it says things are larger than they appear. I've never eaten no goat. I don't think I could eat a goat. Their eyes are cute. Kid, you know I'm only teasing you, buddy. No, thank you. Puma Pete, what's up, buddy? How are you? Maybe you should boil it. Boil that shit right up. Maybe eat it like haggis. Put it in a can. Oh, shit. I have taken a leave. I've literally, Lady Raven Moon, thank you for thinking about me, but I've taken a leave. I've taken Advil, aspirin, Tylenol. I even took some Midol. I was like, I just need some, maybe Midol will work. I'm like, Belle, can I have some Midol? She's like, that's for me, Daddy. Oh, bitch. Yeah. I had this guy that he was our boss at GMAC when I was younger. I worked at GMAC, and he was Irish, like he was full-blooded Irish. Top of the morning to you, Jeff. How are you? And he was this big, rotund of a man, but he was like the fat leprechaun that you never wanted to run into at night. But he was super nice, just super nice. Smelled like shit though. But he ate haggis. He would bring it in at night to eat, and he'd have it in this Tupperware. And then one time he brought it in in a can, and he gave it to me, and I never ate it. I just put it in my cupboard. Oh, I took 4 ibuprofen. Yeah, I take a lot of when I take pain medicine, like Advil, Aleve. I take double what it tells me. What was rude? What was rude? What's up, Doug Wilson? Puma, I'm glad that you're with us, though, buddy. What was rude, Jaden? Haggis? Haggis is rude. Oh, fucking great. Yes, it is. It is like, why? Why would people eat that shit? Like, can't you figure out what else to do with the fucking asshole? Like, don't eat asshole. Asshole's not meant to be eaten. I probably will take a bath after the live stream just to try to get to sleep. Before I end the live stream, Brian, how are you? Brian Cook, how are you? Hot dog pig balls. I have this stuff that did I miss anything? I don't think so. Boom Squad, have a good night, buddy. I have this stuff from Saratoga. There's these mineral baths in Saratoga, and they collected it, and it's in like this little jar like that, and I put that in my tub. It's supposed to be like good for you, I guess. I don't know. It was 1970s, and my sons, age 9 and 7. I was a single mom, and I worked 2 jobs. Oh, shit. I found it. Guys, I found it. I was talking about this experience last week. This is the greatest black-eyed kid story ever, right here. This is the scariest. No, I'm not going to take it before it ends. You know what I meant. Okay. This is the scariest black-eyed kid story I've ever read. It was the 1970s, and my sons, aged 9 and 7. I was a single mom, and I worked 2 jobs. We lived in an old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. We had just moved in and did not know our neighbors very well. The main reason I picked this house was for its large backyard, and my sons started spending all their free time out there. I often only saw my sons for a moment in the morning and at night to tuck them in. They looked out for each other a lot. One day I came home a bit late and my sons were still up reading comics, which was not unusual. What was unusual was how excited they were. They had to tell me a story. They told me about their new friends, 2 boys about their age that lived next door. I was pretty upset. They knew not to talk to strangers. My sons told me they wanted to come inside the house, but my older son did not let them. I told them they were not allowed inside until I met their new friends, and then I put them to bed. The weekend came, and as far as I know, my sons had not gone out back. They went to the neighbor's house, and we went to the neighbor's house and introduced ourselves. They didn't have kids, though. I assumed that my boys had mixed up what direction their friends had come from and went to the opposite neighbor's house. They had kids, but they were girls and a bit younger than my sons. Maybe they lived further down the road, I thought. I figured this was a good time as any to meet the neighbors, and we worked our way down the street. There were some old people, young couple, 2 families with about 8 kids. Even though we had met about 5 boys my son's age, they hadn't met before. They hit it off, though, and my sons stayed for the rest of the day and played in their backyard. I started my way back down the street to get dinner started. When I got back home, I felt like something was off. I wasn't used to being home alone. My sons were always home. I started dinner, but still felt weird, a little scared. Something caught my eye out in the darkening yard. My sons were out in the backyard on their swings, but I still felt worried. I went out there to tell them that they weren't allowed outside, even though I had lifted the grounding earlier that day. Then I realized they weren't my sons. The 2 boys got off the swings and faced me, and I immediately noticed something awful. Their eyes were pure black. They seemed to have no soul, no humanity. I stood on the back patio, paralyzed, just staring into their eyes. The boys were about 100 feet from me and started to walked towards me. Not a muscle in me would move. I couldn't break eye contact with me. "Excuse me, miss. Can we use your phone?" the older one asked. I screamed no and managed to run inside. The boys were at the back door knocking slowly and rhythmically. I was terrified. Then I saw my sons walking up the side of the house toward the boys with black eyes. I ran to the window on the side of the house and told my sons to run. They laughed and continued around the corner. My younger son saw the two boys and greeted them. The boys with black eyes turned and said, "Tell her to let us in." My son yelled for me to open the door. I was just sobbing and didn't know what to do. My sons seemed completely unfazed by these boys with black eyes. I screamed for the boys with the black eyes to leave us alone. Just as I did this, there was a knock at the front door. I rushed to the entryway, foolishly leaving my sons alone. I opened the door and there was a police officer. He was with the parents of the family whose house my sons were playing with earlier. The wife was crying, and the police officer told me that my sons had gone missing. I told him there were intruders in my backyard. I quickly led the police officer to my back door, but the two monsters and my sons were nowhere to be seen. The glass in the door broke from how hard I slammed it open. I ran out into the yard sobbing. Then I heard my younger son's voice. He screamed for me from the back of the yard. I saw him for a moment by the fence. There was a hole in the fence, and one of the boys with the black eye was pulling him through it. The police officer shouted for them to stop as he rushed to the fence. It was too late. My boys are gone. That was the last time I ever saw my sons. This is an experience told to me by my neighbor. She wouldn't say when it happened or not. She would be about the right age for it, though. She lived alone. She had no kids, even though I saw pictures of two little boys at her house when I visited. I've shared this experience with one other person. Now, thank you for allowing me to share. That is the scariest black-eyed kid story ever. Lot lizard time story, and then I'm ending the upload. Lot lizard. Oh, and $20. Ugh. They don't say Truth Quest. Puma Pete, later, buddy. Oh. Charles, I have COVID, so that's why I'm ending it. I'm sick. I've been sick for a week, dude. That's why. Otherwise, I'd be going longer than an hour and 43 minutes. Okay. Hello, everyone. I've been lurking here for a while and thought I'd share this strange experience from 7 years ago that's haunted me ever since. I've been a trucker for over a decade, and you hear all sorts of stories being on the road, but this one still gives me the chills. I was driving through a practically desolate stretch of highway in the Midwest when I decided to pull over at a truck stop for the night. The place was pretty run down. There were only a few other trucks parked there. As I'm getting ready to settle in, I overheard a couple of guys talking near one of the trucks. They seemed on edge, whispering urgently. I caught snippets of their conversation and heard one of them say, "Watch out for the lizards." I thought it was a weird thing to say, but didn't think much of it. I figured it was local slang or an inside joke. As the night wore on, I started to drift off, but then I heard footsteps crouching on the gravel outside. It was strange because it didn't sound like one person. It was like a small group was walking around, but the pattern was irregular and unsettling. Curiosity got the better of me, so I peeked out the window. I couldn't see much in the dim light, but there was definitely figures moving around the parking area. They seemed to be sulking between the trucks, almost like they were looking for something. I told myself it was probably just some other drivers stretching their legs, but the unease would not go away. Suddenly, I heard a sharp knock on my door. My heart leapt into my throat. I glanced at the clock. It was well past midnight. I called out, asking who was there, and got no response, just the sound of footsteps shuffling away. At this point, I was too spooked to investigate further, so I locked the doors and tried to get some sleep. Just as I was drifting off again, I heard this low hissing sound coming from somewhere nearby. It was sort of faint but persistent, like someone whispering just out of earshot. I squeezed my eyes shut and told myself it's just your imagination, but then I heard footsteps again, closer this time. Throughout the night, I could hear knocks and scratches on other trucks around me. Every once in a while, there was some sort of yelling or moaning coming from the distance, like, shit. Sorry. Like someone or something trying to communicate or call out. Occasionally, a smoky smell like a cigarette would waft through the air when these creatures were close to my truck. The rest of the night was a blur of eerie sounds and creepy dread. I kept telling myself it was just some weird local prank, but the whole thing fell off. As soon as first light dawn broke, I did not waste a second. I fired up the truck and got out of there without even looking back. I didn't want to see what might have been left in the morning. To this day, I cannot shake the feeling that there is something more to those lizards that meet the eye. Maybe it was an overactive imagination, or maybe there is something out there in those backwood truck stops that we are better off not knowing about. Stay safe out there. Keep your eyes and ears open. You never know what may be lurking in the dark. No, it was smell of asshole, Aramek. It was definitely smell of asshole and musk. Yeah, it's definitely not good, Charlie. Wilburn? Where fucking where is Wilburn? I did not see Wilburn. Wilburn! Ha ha! Fucking Wilburn! Fucking Wilburn! What's up, buddy? Yeah, God's Marine. That's definitely not old news right there, buddy. Made a few videos about that. They definitely had some intercourse with women and the animals. May have created Dogman. Who knows? Thank you, Wilburn. Dude, we've been talking about you for months. I'm like, where the fuck is Wilburn? Wilburn! This one's for Wilburn. Why? Because Wilburn says $20 is $20. Oh. All right. Guys, I hope to see you guys next week. I'm sorry that the live was so short. Wilburn, you better be here next week, buddy. Wilburn! All right, I am going to take a shower and hopefully feel better the rest of the week. Oh, yeah. Thank you for spending Saturday with me. I really feel like I let you guys down, but Aramek, dude, thank you so much. That's awesome, Aramek. You really did make my night, buddy. Thank you. All right, guys, I'll see you next Saturday, but I'll see you all week because I have videos up all week. And, well, I will feel better next Saturday. I'll make it a point. I promise you. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for putting up with my snotty fucking nose and my whining ass. But I love you all. Thank you, Neck. Rihanna, have a good night. Pups, thank you. All right. Guys, once again, thank you so much. You guys make this channel what it is, and it is special. See y'all later.